All right, we're back again, and this time we are doing the co-main event breakdown for UFC Fight Night 141. Here's how it's going to go down. If you guys are gambling people, Sergey Pavlovich, he comes at minus 120. He's the favorite in this fight versus Alistair Overeem, who comes back at plus 100. How do you see it going down, Dan Tom?
Shoot, if you're betting on the fight, that's you must enjoy sweating, because heavyweight fights, it feels like you could just crumple up the piece of paper or the betting lines and throw them out the window, especially in MMA. These fights really can go either way, but I would say that the line's fairly represented here. It's a really close fight. It's a coin flip. I can understand why Pavlovich is the favorite. A light heavyweight champion over the FNG, Fight Night's global organization, which you can go track down on Fight Pass. And I did just that. I went and looked at Sergey's fights and looked at about his last 5 or so. And it's weird, he's undefeated fighter, has got a wrestling background, good in the Greco-Roman, but it was strange. He's very conservative. Not that that's a bad thing, especially against a guy like Overeem. You don't want to get technical and too fancy with a veteran who's still as dynamic as Overeem is. So that's good going for Pavlovich. The problem is, though, is his level of competition. Most of his stoppages happened on the lower levels, and once he got to fairly midland range of regional talent, we saw him go to decision a lot. Gassed out at first, but was able to improve his condition. He's still a young guy, younger than Overeem, younger in miles. All those things are great, but the problem was I didn't see him against not just UFC talent, which obviously is another level, but I didn't see him against any tall guys, any kickers, and when he did face guys who came from striking backgrounds, he would go to his wrestling, but not enough for my liking. And in fact, even when Sergey did go for takedowns, he never held the guys down for long, and you see that from some wrestlers depending on the region. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions. So I'm going to go with Overeem. Overeem, we know what we're going to get with him as far as all the skills. Underrated wrestling, but I think that's going to be improved. He's training with Curtis Blades at this camp. He relocated his camp to Denver. Curtis Blades is on the same card, and I feel like they mimic each other's they're perfect training partners because they mimic each other's opponents. So he's going to have a real pressure guy who puts more volume than Sergey and who's a better wrestler than Sergey, who he's training with. Question about Overeem: 13 losses by TKO. That's hard to ignore. It's going to come down to, for me at least, Overeem's durability. It seems like the public's fading it. I still believe in him enough for this fight. Obviously, if Sergey catches him clean, he can get the knockout. But I'm going to go with the more proven guy. I think Overeem, if it goes into a long fight, he can win rounds or maybe even catch a counter.
It's really tough for me because you look at Pavlovich and he just lacks that experience, especially at this level in the UFC against a guy like Alistair Overeem that has so many fights, so much experience. The one thing that I'll give Alistair Overeem, I know that he's had a couple bad finishes in his career, but he's always changing up his camps, trying new things, adding wrinkles to his game, and I just feel like it's really going to come down to who can put the most pressure early on in this fight. I think that person will be successful, and I have a feeling it's going to be the Reem in this fight, so I'm going to pick Alistair Overeem, but I do reserve the right to maybe change my bet a little later on. I keep going back and forth on this one, but I'm pretty confident I'm going with the Reem. But there you have it. Those are your UFC Fight Night 141 co-main event breakdown. Don't forget, keep it dialed into MMAjunkie.com. We will have all the latest news on not just this fight, but the entire card.